I seen Nigel begging his photo on the table the other night to get that jerk.
Come on, man. Did you see that? Did you see me doing that?
All right. Cinco, cuatro, tres, dos, uno. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Big Cozy, Too Cozy. Shouts out to everybody checking in with the Highly Advised podcast. This is episode 48. You know, we're really close to the big 50, so shouts out to everybody that's tuning in. What's up, guys? I'm here with Nigel motherfucking Uno, aka Nigel No Shame, Relaxing Jackson. I'm here with Spence, aka Saint Picasso, aka the face that runs the place, aka Saint Kitch. What's up, guys? Let the motherfuckers know how you doing. Yes, I call them motherfuckers because that's what they are.
Wolf hunters. What's going on, everybody? Checking in. I'm doing pretty good. Can't call it, man. I think this episode 48 marks a year straight. This is like a 1 year anniversary that we've been on so far, which is crazy.
Boom.
So,
yes, sir.
Got to thank the listeners. Got to thank the listeners for everything from every part of the beginning to where we are right now. So that's all I got to say. Other than that, God is great, my paper's straight, and yeah, that's it.
What's going on, y'all? This is Relaxing OG_Jackson, and I didn't realize that it's been a year that we've been doing this straight. It's kind of crazy. Like, it just kind of sunk in. It's wild to think that we've been doing this for 52 weeks. 52 fucking weeks that we've been doing this. Thank you, listeners.
365.
365. Like, it's been a lot of effort. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of things had to happen to make all these episodes come out when they did. Like, a lot. So thank you guys for being here with us.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. So before we really get into the topics today, and, you know, run down through everything that happened in the past week or so, you know, how was your guys' week? What did you guys get into? Anything special happen? Anything negative happen? Let everybody know. Let me know, because, you know, I'm definitely interested. The only day that I'm interested throughout the week.
Any other day of the week, it's like, I don't care about your problems, man.
All right, that's what's up, Clay. Like, anyways.
It's like, yo, Lau, you'll never guess what happened, yo. They ran up on me. Well, that sounds personal. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah. Is it Sunday? All right, hit me up then. We'll talk about it then. Bye. No, my week's been all right, on the swivel. You know, this is the first week where I've been able to walk without the crutches. Like, I'm pretty happy about that. You know what I mean? Life's been kind of good.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's another step towards, you know, being 100%. And, you know, it's really nice just to be able to, you know, take 2 steps at a time. It's like a lovely thing.
That's good. That's good. What about you, Spence?
I can't really call it at all. Everything's been good for the whole week. Sliced up my thumb last week cooking. So other than that, though, I can't really yeah.
What were you cooking?
A nice little gash. What was it? Oh, I was making some soya beef.
Okay. So
what's up? Nice little gash. See, you asking me too many questions, man.
Yeah. You just gonna say it. I'm curious, man. I don't want to Google everything. Like, shit, that's what friends are for. You're supposed to just have that shit on demand, you know, the information.
I'm not a shoulder to cry on, bro.
All right.
Talk to me only on Sundays.
Only on Sundays.
But nah, it's like an African soya spice or whatever.
Okay.
Just rub it on. You put it on the beef, cut it all up. Let it marinate, do its thing, and you cook it pretty much. But trying to trim some skirt steak and almost trimmed a piece of my finger. Not trimmed a piece of my finger off, but it got a little bloody. I'll say to say the least. But
you getting stitches on it, or no? You just wrapped it up.
Slice the whole thing.
Nah. I took the Dr. Sebi route and I just wrapped it up.
Oh, okay.
Well, I thought you might say you rush some sea moss on it. I was about to say, all right, go for it, man.
Yo, man, I got the sea moss on tug just in case. So you never know.
Well,
that's what you keep it for.
I hope your finger doesn't fall off, man, because, you know, with you know, I'm just saying, you know, affection, then you decide to go to the doctor because you realize, like, hey, I'm not a doctor. They're like, hey, man, it's just too late. We got to cut this shit. So hopefully you don't get to that point. Hopefully you just heal up like you Wolverine or something.
I should be good. It's healing itself up, though. It was a bad little cut, but I've had worse. It just lets me know that my knives work when I'm cooking, so.
While you were cooking, did you get to catch up with the Grammys or anything, man?
I didn't get a chance to watch it initially, but I did see a lot on the timeline about Freddie Gibbs, because he was up for nomination for Rap Album of the Year, but unfortunately he did not get it from what I've heard. So all in all, like who ended up winning the Grammys actually?
Nas.
The rapper.
Yeah.
Nas won it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be you can only be but so mad. You know what I mean?
No, fuck that. Nas is he's forever a GOAT, right? Arguably you could be like he's top 3 rapper of all time.
Right.
Top 3 rap album of all time with Illmatic, and some people think Stillmatic. So he got the accolades, he got the history behind him. But when you're comparing King's Disease versus Alfredo, like, come on. And I'm not saying King's Disease was a bad album, but you compare that to Alfredo. I just thought Alfredo earned the recognition of best album of the year when it came to the Grammys. But shouts out to Nas. I'm glad that he finally got one under his belt. But I just thought that Freddie earned that one.
I think Alfredo definitely deserved to win, but I guess, with the rules and the way that they play the game, with the Grammys and whatever, they were probably like, hey, we owe Nas one. This album was actually a good one. And, why not give it to him? Because honestly, like, if I'm being real with myself, I'll say there's no way that album takes it over Alfredo. I think it's just the way to justify it as to past actions. You know what I mean?
No, man, that's bullshit. Because just because we've been dicking this guy for years. When we want to change, we're just going to give him one. Like, that's kind of like, hey, sorry, we dicked you for so many years. In a sense, they ended up fucking over Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist for a strong piece of body of work that they did. 2 wrongs don't make a right, in a sense. I think the voting system with the Grammys, that obviously needs to change. I think they need to have a strike team go in there and revamp the whole shit. Because Macklemore was saying way back then when he won his Grammy over Kendrick, the people that's voting are people who only listen to what they fucking see on commercial TV or mainstream radio. They're not really dialed into the fucking genre. So Macklemore at the time, he was really popular, but everybody who listens to rap music knows like he ain't really shit, But to the mainstream, hey, this is what I call music, pop CDs and shit, Macklemore's on there. So they thought in their mind, like, well, I don't know the rest of these guys, but I know Macklemore and I like that cringy ass thrift shop song. He deserves album of the year. And that's how the voting went. It wasn't people who thoroughly listen to rap music and like, okay, this is going to be a very credible decision. No, it's just people who like, did I hear this song? No, I didn't hear it. Okay, he wins. And that's how the voting's been. So kudos to them on getting better nominations that they have been in the past years, but it's still fucked up and they need to improve.
I understand where you're coming from with that, because in terms of like who had the better album last year, I think it's without question that Freddie Gibbs' album was better than King's Disease. But we also have to like kind of be like logical here, right? The awards that go out at the Grammys are based off pretty much commercial success, right?
Yeah.
And we all know at the end of the day, no matter how good Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist's album was, they aren't commercial artists, and that album wasn't a commercial. It wasn't a commercial release by almost every music platform across the board. I think that was considered like the number one album of last year by almost, no matter if you're talking Pitchfork to Billboard in terms of rap albums last year. But it's a system. Even you have someone like Ninth Wonder that's on the Grammy board. At least they're moving in the right direction in terms of who to pick or who's actually being nominated. But at the same time, man, I'm not upset just because it's Nas and he finally got one and it was a good album at the end of the day. It's just, I think we all were just rooting for Freddie Gibbs at the end of the day. Like Freddie Gibbs even said, he's like, I may have lost this, but I'm undefeated in court. So it's one way. He had a positive way of looking at it, I guess you could say.
I was going to say, shout out for his positivity and all that. He probably already knew he wasn't going to win, so he didn't give a shit. He just wanted to have a good time. The fact that he even got to Grammys, even nominated, just speaks that he's really come far in his career. You know, it's a big deal for you to even be talked about at the Grammys. So shouts out to him. Grammys is still corrupt, but you know what? It may not be corrupt, the fucking billboards, because the Billboard has revealed a little bit of history with Drake debuting for the first time ever with any artist across any genre, 1, 2, and 3. That kind of puts him in GOAT status, man. And of course, the debate is always going to be, all right, him and Jay-Z is kind of like LeBron versus Mike or Floyd versus Ali type shit. So, but the fact that he's in that realm just speaks like, yo, hopefully Certified Lover Boy, man, it's a quality album. We know it's going to do its numbers. We know it's going to go platinum. We could argue about the numbers how much platinum he'll get. But I think the thing is, like, is it going to be quality where we could be like, yo, this is timeless music, or will it not? So we'll see. That's my biggest concern. Yeah, he's getting all these accolades, recognition, and he does make good music, but will CLB be the shit? Will it be the shit? But shouts out to making 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this in terms of that question. I have confidence that CBL will live up to his hype. I mean, of course.
Of course. You said it's gonna go diamond. Like, if you said anything different, that'd be crazy.
Listen. For one, I believe it. Well, let me ask you this, Nigel. Speaking of that, because I know in the last episode you said like, oh, Drake hasn't done, or the last episode, and just you've been echoing this for weeks now, right? Drake hasn't done anything that I haven't seen him done before, right? That makes you seem impressed that this album will be probably one of his highest selling albums, right? So with this being said, with him being 1, 2, and 3 on Billboard, off of a mixtape or EP with 3 singles, have you seen anything new that impressed you by Drake?
I never said.
I know
Drake.
Before you.
No, you asked me a question. I'm about to answer it.
I'm just asking.
I'm
just
about
asking
to answer your question.
Go ahead. Don't get defensive, man. Go ahead.
Right. Like I said, I think Drake's going to keep on doing great things because he's Drake. I don't expect him to not do great things. I think what he did was actually, really dope. But once again, I just feel like 5 million in 1 week is just a lot. To go diamond in 1 week is a lot. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say either. You know what I mean? Like, that's not so wild. Drake has broke a few Billboard records before, has he not? So why should this be surprising to me?
I'm just saying.
You said
no, it's great. It's great, man. Like, I'm not trying to undermine it, but I mean, like, it's not a justification for any. No, it's not a justification for anything else. Essentially, what Spence is trying to say is because he did this and it's something new that somebody hasn't ever done before, he must go diamond with Certified Lover Boy. No,
I never said that.
But that's what you're implying. But that's what you're implying.
I'm not implying that. I'm not implying that. I'm asking you in the terms of the conversation we had, in terms of even when I ended it off with 4 and a possible. So, and you even said, I just don't see anything. Drake hasn't done anything that makes me see. I haven't seen anything different or anything that's. That's not what I said either. I said, why hasn't Drake went diamond already? That's what I said. Like, if he's so capable of doing it, why hasn't he done it already? That's what I said. I didn't say anything about any of his other great achievements or anything like that. That's like the left over there. No, but you definitely did. Even it might not have been all mic, it might have been off mic, but you definitely did say, yo, I mean, I haven't seen anything. Like, you haven't seen anything that he's done in comparison to now.
I don't remember saying that. I don't remember saying that, yo.
It's all good, man. Convenient amnesia, man.
For years, Nigel has been battling that Drake shouldn't be getting the love and recognition. I remember when Kendrick was coming out with fire music. Kendrick was on top of the world. See, Drake can't do that. See, Drake could never. He could never dream of having the success as Kendrick and being loved at Kendrick. He's not a better rapper. Now, fast forward years later, Drake is just killing it from every angle. I'm not surprised. It's Drake. He should be doing that. He should be doing it. Like all these backhanded compliments.
Records.
No, I'm not even saying it like that. I'm just saying like, no, like I'm not trying to undermine what he's doing or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's not really a justification for anything else. I didn't say anything else as to like how this is not dope. Like it's super dope. Like this is cool. Like I'm not at this point in time. I'm not surprised that he's breaking records because he's Drake. Like he's doing a lot of shit that a lot of other rappers haven't done before. Now, if you want to like carry that over to the conversation that people are having about like the career of Jay-Z and Drake or whatever, like I would take the career of Jay-Z, but that's not to say that Drake's career isn't great. You know, I think the discussion is becoming even more clear, like by the day. If you're going to talk about what I said years ago, up to this point in time right now, the conversation is becoming Jay-Z or Drake. It is. And Kendrick's still great. Don't get me wrong. And neither of their careers are done yet. But at this moment in time, that you can't like rap and not give Drake his kudos in some way, shape, or form. You just can't.
No, you can't. You can't. And me and Spence, we've been preaching that for years. Spence been preaching it before me.
It's 2021. That's what's up. That's cool. That's cool that y'all said that years ago. Like it's March 2021, so I can't speak about what I said years ago. My opinions have changed. People have changed. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
I just said it.
We've seen the light for a long time, and finally,
that's what's up.
We had nothing else to hate on. Nothing else to hate on.
See, that's cool because when I say that, like, oh yeah, I was like hype on John Jones before he like started winning. You're like, oh, Nigel likes John Jones so much. But when you talk about Drake and I say, oh, okay, that's what's up, you're like, oh, Nigel's a hater. Like, you know what I mean? Immediately. So, but it's cool though. You know, shouts out to Drake. Shouts out to Drake.
Did you hate Benny's project?
Nah, I didn't hate Benny project actually.
What about you, Spence? Did you hate his project?
Nah, I was surprised. I actually liked it, to be honest with you. I was surprised I was going to like Plugs I Met too.
What'd you think of it?
I wasn't a fan of the first one, but this one, it was good. I don't know where I place it so far. Granted, it's still early in the year. I think we're in the second quarter now in terms of music. I have to wait to see what else comes out, but it's a good project. I don't know. It's just a good project. I'm just waiting for Tan to Talk 4 at this point, man. Like he says some dope stuff on this album, but I think the best song, my favorite song off this album is Survivor's Remorse. So,
okay, that was a dope song. I think Plugs I Met 2 shits all over the first one. And
absolutely.
I don't even think there's a debate. I listened to both projects back to back too, just to see if it was like recency bias. Like, no, it's just Plugs I Met 2. Quality wise, it is a better piece of work. I think Plugs I Met 2 right now might be the best rap project that dropped this year as far as just music goes. With that being said, of course, I think this is just the appetizer to a much bigger main course meal. If the next project is Tana Talk 4 or whatever he decides to call it, if this is kind of like, hey, a preview of what's to come from Benny, we're probably going to be talking about Benny as like, hey, not the face. He might be one of the faces of where rap is going into in the next couple of years. I enjoyed Plugs I Met 2. I recommend anybody who likes real rap music to listen to Plugs I Met 2. If you like Lil Pump and Stick in the Booty Auto-Tune guy, listen to them. But if you like real rap music that they're talking about, this is your guy. This is the guy, you know. Even Drake was showing mad love. A lot of people showing him mad love over this weekend, over the project. So Plugs I Met 2 is definitely a good project from Benny.
I think the dopest thing about having this project is that I have the vinyl and I'll be able to hear the instrumentals on the backside. And I think like the production of this project was pretty well done. Like, you know, especially like there's a few songs, the song with 2 Chainz, I really fuck with that beat. The song with Chinks on it, that beat's pretty fucking dope. So I'm excited just to hear those play, you know, when I get that.
I didn't even realize the vinyl comes with the instrumental with it as well. Like, that's going to be pretty dope. I know it was that joint, and then also him, French, and Jim Jones, which I think was pretty dope also. I was saying something before about it where French and Jim Jones, at one point in time, they had a huge tiff for like in the past decade.
That's it.
Yeah, like it was a huge. They had like a huge beef for like for the last decade because of like Max B and stuff. Granted, Jim has came out vocally and said how he feels about Max still, but it's good to see that that beyond the reconciliation, you have him, French Montana, Jim Jones, French Montana, and Benny the Butcher on a song that's produced by Harry Fraud, who essentially came in with French Montana also. So, and on top of it, Jim has that project produced by Harry the Fraud. So,
last thing I want to say, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I know Spence, you already said that Survivor's Remorse was your song. For me, there's 2 songs on there that I really enjoyed. Plug Talk with 2 Chainz, and I like No Instructions. I thought those 2 songs really was like, okay, these are dope ass songs. The second thing I want to say is Harry Fraud, he might be in the running as producer of the year. He's dropping some gems so far in 2021. And it's carrying over from last year, because last year he did some collaboration efforts as well. Like, for example, the joint with Larry June. This might be a Harry Fraud year. Shouts out to Harry Fraud. Hopefully he keeps on going and he keeps doing his damn thing.
No, that's absolutely. I agree with that. Like, I think I'm curious to see what comes from this definitely for the rest of the year, because like you said, he created a good pace. He's creating a great pace for himself, from Larry June last year to having Jim Jones this year to now Benny the Butcher, who's, I think we all can agree, out of just those 3 artists, Benny the Butcher is the biggest artist out of those 3 in terms of music relevance.
Correct. Right? Yep, I agree with you. Yeah.
So I think hopefully we get to see one of those years similar to what we saw with Alchemist, where he's just producing classics or just almost classics on a lot of dope artists' albums. So I can't wait to see more from Harry Fraud. So
yeah, absolutely. And he also did a joint with Jay Worthy as well. Kind of like, sleeper type joint, but I still fucks with it. Plugs I met too. Quick rating, what would you guys give it out of 5 stars? If just on top of your head.
I think me, off the top of my head, I give it a 4. I was thinking about this the other day, because if I give Burden of Proof a 5, I got to give this a 4. And I don't mean to say that to compare the two, but like just in terms of quality, like it's good enough to be a good, project, like very solid, but it's not something where I'm just like, hey, like this is going to be probably the best thing I've heard all year. Like it's good, definitely good enough to give a listen.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 also. It is a good project, but it's just not, like I said, I'm waiting for Tana Talk 4 at the end of the day. When it's all said and done, that's what I'm waiting on. So to me, it's a good project, but there's certain elements I feel like are missing that I can't put my finger on that gives it that 5 status. So,
it's funny that you say that, because like when you say certain elements you can't put your finger on, I just can't put my finger on why people take the time to really worry about Quavo and Saweetie. and I think about this shit, and shouts out to Quavo and Saweetie, right?
Right.
I'm not a fan of Saweetie's music, but shouts out to her for being able to do her thing and becoming one of the more notable female rap acts of today. And plus, she's a beautiful tink. I can understand why Quavo was dropping the bag on her and all that stuff. But the relationship shit between them two, I was kind of like, yo, who gives a fuck? I understand it's entertaining for drama and all that dumb shit, but yeah, I think this shit it's just stupid, man. It's so stupid. People coming up with theories and they're cheating on each other nonstop. And I'm just like, hey man, they probably gonna get it in a few more times and realize like this shit is stupid. I don't know, but what is your guys' take on that shit? Because social media's been talking about that shit.
It's just entertainment, like similar to what you said. Because at the end of the day, just like when we were talking about Kurt Franklin last week, right? That's like their personal life. When it's all said and done, people are trying to pick these sides of like, oh, either you're on Quavo's side or Saweetie's side, and just the memes that come from it are probably the most hilarious. I seen Saweetie, because I think she said like "Take Care" to whatever Quavo had tweeted, and then they put her face on the "Take Care" album cover of Drake's album cover, which was hilarious. But I don't know. To me, it's not really that deep. I think it's just the funniest thing out of the whole thing is just how it all began, because Saweetie was like, yo, if I had to do a threesome, I would tell my boyfriend to pick another dude. And Quavo was just like, yeah, I got to drop you off. I got to drop you off. I got to send you back where you were from. So, I
The
mean,
streets.
I'm curious to see how that's going to play out because, Quavo wrote like the majority of our hits. So,
Hey,
without him,
Hey, good luck to her. I was reading some comments about it, and my bad, Nigel. I just had to get this one
No,
on.
you're good.
People were like, "Oh, the only reason why Quavo stayed relevant because it was with Saweetie." I was sitting there like, man, these people, they love fanboyism to the extreme. Let's be real. Who is the bigger artist, Quavo or Saweetie? Who's made more quality music, Quavo or Saweetie? Who's going to be, 5 years from now, they're going to, hey, let's go cut on a Quavo song or let's cut on a Saweetie song. Let's be real. Quavo isn't the best rapper of all time. We all know that. But he's part of one of the most iconic rap groups in the Migos. Saweetie, she's part of this current female rap wave of like, hey, females are getting bigger, even though they're not rapping about shit, but they're getting bigger, and she's one of the top ones. No, and I'm not saying that to not female rappers because there is good female rappers.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
it's
But
equivalent to male rappers.
Yeah. She's part of the female rappers talking about pussy pop and all that
Right.
shit that So like with that, I just look at it as like, if it's true, Quavo has been writing our hits, I'm gonna be like, well, good luck, because look what happened. Look at the City Girls. When Lil Yachty's not writing their shit, none of their songs pop. They're not. So I just look at it as, hey, good luck to her. Hopefully she can find another good writer. Hopefully she can, continue to make music that girls want to listen to, because when you compare artists, Quavo is clearly bigger. He's clearly more talented. So as far as the relationship shit goes, who gives a damn? But as far as the music wise, yeah, Quavo is better, and I don't think he's going to be missing much out of her musically.
Yeah, I just hope that they continue to make good music or whatever. Like Saweetie, I'm not really like the biggest fan of her music, or at least I wasn't. But she's put out a couple songs that I like here and there. Like she's not, so bad. And Quavo, like
my type in the shower.
Nah. That's wild, yeah. That's a wild visual to even give anybody, you know what I mean? Like the shit that I'm talking about is that la-di-da shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Nah. Bro.
Anyways, I think that, they just need to continue making good music and trying to do the best that they can. I don't really care about this. I don't. I could give two fucks about their relationship because that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that part where like the relationship part, it doesn't mean much, but I think from like a music standpoint, I agree where at this point, the Migos are like a legendary group in hip hop. That's without saying they're a legacy act. So I think the only thing I'm interested in seeing out of this is like, because Quavo is the bigger artist between the two, is if they do separate, I'm quite sure he's not going to be part of them. He's not going to be doing anything with them, but I don't know, man. I'm curious to see how it plays out because I just can't see him really writing music. I did see a video on Instagram or Twitter where they were together, but I'm not sure if it was that day, if it was after the breakup stuff happened or what, because I know she was promoting a new single. So I'm not sure if it was with Quavo, because if it was, I mean, it's
surprise.
The ploy of having somebody, of using the breakup, using social media for what it's supposed to be used for. So
that's wild, man. People just get caught up in the moment. It happens to everybody, though. You know what I mean? Like we all get there where we're all like wrapped up in somebody else's shit. But it's like this shit is just, I just really don't care. I just don't.
Well, let the people know what you care about.
Spence, I know
care
you
about seeing if Cass.
See, you were about to say, yeah, go ahead. Tell the listeners what you care about, Spence. Clearly.
I care about seeing how well Cassidy does against Hitman Holla in this RBE battle on April 3rd, man. Because anybody that's kept up with Cassidy, the rapper from 20 years ago that was a star at one point in time with B-Boy Dance, Drinking My Two-Step, I'm a Hustler, X, Y, and Z. He is now battling former Wild 'N Out star Hitman Holla, a.k.a. URL rap battle legend. But now he is, his former battling is on the comedy stage in terms of Wild 'N Out. So I'm very curious to see how that works out because they had a face-off that was hilarious. It's hilarious because you could just tell because nobody has, in terms of rap, I think in terms of battling, nobody really has the respect for Cassidy like that. He's just a big name. Call a spade a spade. He's a big name. He's a big name that brings tickets in. I might even go. I'm probably not going to attend it, but I would love to attend it, but because it's going to be something hilarious to watch.
Man, there were some funny jabs thrown by Hitman that I thought were funny. You know what I mean? Talking about him being carried like a little boy and whatnot. Like, yeah, this shit sounds funny when you hear him say it, but at the same point in time, like, it's weird because the only time I saw Cassidy battle was against Arsenal, and if you've listened to that, listeners, any listener who has listened to that battle knows that it didn't go Cassidy's way, and that's putting it lightly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so all I'll say is that I'm sure Hitman Holler won't. If they do this, it will be funny. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, with this shit, with Cassidy and all that, I look at it as like, hey, this shit is just entertainment. Like he has to know what he's getting himself into. He has to, But then again, we don't know. Some people really believe their own shit. So
Cassidy last year, he was out here putting out different videos in terms of him like making beats, and at the time because he was trying to learn how to do music production, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the beats were horrible. I mean, he got better, but he was taking the beats and rapping on them, and it just, the bars was all right, but like the beats weren't that good. I think he's just trying to just restart his career, and anybody that's kept up with Cassidy, whether it's the battle with Arsenal or the battle with Goods, and I think I think those are the only two battles he's done since he's came back. He's there for entertainment, and even like he claims, because some people would say he's a delusional person when he's having these conversations. He's like, yo, I'm the highest paid battle rapper ever. He's like, no one's ever got paid more than me. So it kind of puts it out there right there for me that it's just a money play.
Hitman Holler was saying some of the stats, for the videos, and I had to look them up because I was curious. And he was like, tell me one video that's did more than 1 million views, and I could not find one. Or it was like one that was like one there, you know what I mean? But like not the other ones. It was like kind of funny to watch.
But Cassidy even told him though, listen, I got over 5 million views in every battle. He's like, on what video? He was like, I have over 5 million views. He's like, no. I got over 5 million views. He's like, well, who? Everybody, anybody I battle.
Maybe he's just in on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. If he just wants to, make some money, shouts out to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it like this with Cassidy. He knows how to. It's like wrestling. Watching this is like watching wrestling, where Cassidy's just getting under the skin of somebody. And he does it in a way where it's like he had Hitman Holla upset because I think Hitman Holla said, yo, I'm good in Philly more than you are. He was like, he was like, yo, no one even knows you in St. Louis. He was like, I asked about you. Nobody heard anything about you. He was like, Hitman Holla gets up and starts yelling to everybody that I guess is behind the camera. Meanwhile, Cassidy's was like sparking up a blunt. So he's like, oh, nobody's ever heard of you. Why he's like sparking up. And it's just like, yo, it's like Cassidy knows this is like what you see with Conor McGregor, but in the sense that like when Conor McGregor was fighting Jose Aldo, and you saw where Conor was like getting in the head of somebody, but he can actually beat him. In this situation, it wasn't necessarily the case. Like I think similar to like with AJ, I think Cassidy is going to have to kiss the ring because I'm not sure when they're having it, but not the Cassidy battle because that's April 3rd for anybody that wants to watch it on RBE. But I know AJ, Anthony Joshua, he will be kissed. They've set up a match with, I think, a rematch clause between him and the Gypsy King, a.k.a. Tyson Fury. The lineal champ, we'll say.
Yeah, that belt look like... It looks trashy, but I understand, like, it's cool, but they could, like, redesign the belt or something. Like, come on, yo. Like, come on. It's time.
Okay. I get the purpose. Don't get me wrong. I understand the purpose of lineal champion, I understand the purpose of it because it makes sense, but I just don't feel like you should use that as like hey, I am a champion, because no one ever talks about it. Like, because it just signifies that you beat the man that beat the man.
That means nothing.
It means a lot.
It means
to beat the man that beats the man.
As far as championship goes, it means nothing. And I'm going to tell you why it means nothing. If it meant something, there would be one world heavyweight championship across the board. But you have 10 belts for one weight division. So why does it matter? Why should I believe your championship means more than the other 9? Why?
I mean, in this situation, I'll say this, right? Because I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, right? Okay. My thing in terms of Tyson Fury, it was like, look at it like Dragon Ball Z, right? You know how they got to get together to get the Dragon Balls together to get the dragon, and then they make the wish, and the balls dismantle and go everywhere, right? Right. In this situation, he beat the guy that had all of the belts.
Okay.
He beat the guy had all the belts. He beat Klitschko, had all the belts. And then when Tyson Fury left because of like drugs and all of that stuff, then just like the Dragon Balls, because he got his wish was granted, and then he left the game because of drugs or whatever. Yeah. And then the belts kind of just made their way across the world again, i.e. in the hands of Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua.
This is real life. It should not be that difficult. You know what I mean? Like, to unite the belts. It's just like, like, let's just work on reuniting the belts in some way, shape, or form, you know?
Yeah. Just unite the championships, have one de facto world heavyweight champion of boxing. This is the guy. They're combining 6, 7 different belts to be like the undisputed unified champion. It means nothing. This bout should be like, hey, this is all the belts combined into one true championship belt. If Tyson wins, he's the guy. If Anthony wins, he's the guy. Not he's the WBO, WBC, IBO, IBF, the Ring Magazine, the Lineal, the ESPN magazine. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It just dilutes the credibility of a championship. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's been going on with the welterweight fighters with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Who's the true number 1 welterweight? Well, Terrence Crawford got the World Boxing Organization belt. Terrence Crawford got, Errol Spence got the, IBF and whatever corrupt organization championship belt. So I'm glad that they're fighting, because it's going to be like, all right, who's the true number 1 heavyweight in the world between Anthony and Tyson? They got the guys right. The championship shit, it don't matter, man. It don't matter. Like, they just need to unify the belts. It's just because guess what? You still got the British heavyweight champion, the United Kingdom heavyweight champion, the Saudi Arabian champion, that they're waiting to put the belt on the winner of the fight. Like, it's just too much shit. With that being said, I think Tyson Fury is going to beat Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lau. And does anybody know when this fight is happening?
Nah, I just saw there was an announcement. They'll probably have it. They'll probably be making it probably within the next 3 to 6 months, probably.
I got Tyson Fury. I'm not sure if he's going to finish him or anything like that. It's possible, but I mean, like, from what I've seen from Tyson Fury, I think he'll just keep him in the deep waters and fuck with him a little bit.
I see him winning a decision. Anthony Joshua, he's not a bad heavyweight boxer. I just think Tyson Fury's the better boxer.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah. So, unless Tyson Fury comes in overweight, out of shape like Andy Ruiz, it's really his fight to lose. That's how I see it.
Even if he came out of weight and overweight and out of shape, I still would have Tyson Fury winning. I say that. Listen, when there was only one champion, he was in the same space and he beat that guy. He beat Klitschko the same way. I think Anthony Joshua is going to lose this fight regardless. If it goes to decision, Anthony Joshua has a chance of winning depending on where the fight is. Just because you know how things can be with not even just boxing but just sports in general. When you have like something that's a earner pretty much, right? So I have Tyson Fury winning the fight. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he can. If he can, he could probably get Joshua out by the. I'm gonna say he can get Joshua out by like the 9th or 10th round.
I was thinking the 8th.
Okay, yeah, later round.
Yep.
Okay,
I was thinking the 8th.
Yeah, like it really just depends. But Tyson Fury is hands down. Tyson Fury to me, I've always believed has been the best fighter amongst all boxers in the past. Maybe out of heavyweights over the past 6 or 7 years, ever since he's won the championship. When he first beat Klitschko, ever since then I haven't seen anybody else prove that they are as good technically, I guess you could say. So.
Well, I mean, shouts out to boxing. They finally got one matchup correct. And, it took a long ass fucking time. And it was probably people be like, yo, we are not paying for this pay-per-view. So, of course, they get scared because it's fucking their money up. And they decided to put the correct matchup. It's funny how that works when money is involved in shit like that. So, thank God. Shouts out to, the corrupt promoters that decided to be not corrupt for one moment of time to give us a legitimate heavyweight title fight. So thank God for that. But from one title fight to the next title fight, both heavyweights, we got the biggest and baddest rematches they love to promote. Stipe Miocic, 2-time world heavyweight champion, rematching Francis Ngannou, and the biggest heavyweight rematch as the UFC is promoting of UFC history. Me, personally, I'm going to root for Francis. I want Francis to win. I think Francis has a better chance at winning. I just think Stipe is going to win a decision again because I just think his wrestling is just too much for Francis. Even though he got Kamaru Usman in his corner, I think Stipe is just going to out wrestle him, grab a decision, and move on to lose to John Jones. What do you guys think?
So I see it going one of two ways, right? I see it, if Francis wins, he gets him out by the 1st or 2nd. Some type of crazy punch puts him out cold. I think if Stipe wins, he just brings him into deep waters, 4th, 5th. I think he goes to a decision with a possible 4th, attempt at a finish of some type. And I think the more likely to happen is Stipe with the decision overall. I think he just has too much skills. Like, he's no slouch. While Francis might be, one of the most dangerous heavyweights we've ever seen, Stipe is very skilled and has beat him before. If he can just improve on what he did, then he'll get the win.
Yeah. I agree there where I think Stipe will get the win out of this. I will be rooting for Francis similar to Lau. That's from like just a fan perspective, but from like just being realistic, I do feel as though Stipe is going to win this fight. Similar to, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I think it was when after Francis lost the first time, I think he went on to fight Derek Lewis next, I believe, right?
Correct.
And in that fight, you could see where he was like, he was a shell of himself, where he was like scared. He was scared to do anything because he had gotten beat over the course of multiple rounds because just from being out wrestled. So I'm curious to see how that mentality has changed now that he's back in the ring with the same person that gave him put him in that mental space. But it's, when it comes to Stipe, at the end of the day, Francis has a puncher's chance, but even outside of that puncher's chance, Stipe is probably going to grapple him. Stipe has already proved before that he can take a punch from Francis. Like, that's without question. So if Francis has a shot in the first round, but after that, if he doesn't get him out of there, if he doesn't get Stipe out in the first round, I got to go with Stipe. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm rooting for Francis. There was another title fight, Ortega and Volkanovski, but literally like yesterday, postponed. Volkanovski tested positive. So the card is still not a bad card. It should be still a fun night of fights leading up to the title match in the main event. But having that featherweight title fight, just if it was going to happen, who were you guys picking? I was going to actually, believe it or not, I was picking Ortega. I was going to pick Ortega to do it. I think Ortega had enough to take the belt away from Volkanovski in a solid decision. Volkanovski's not a slouch or whatever, but he's shown that, hey, if he doesn't mix in his wrestling, he can get beat. And Ortega's not bad on the ground himself.
Well, I think Brian Ortega would have been enough to take him, only because I think what we can clearly say at this point in time about Volkanovski in the Max Holloway fights, at least, and of course it's MMA math, but the reason why he beat Max Holloway was because he had a good game plan. But Max Holloway is still no slouch, but he was just able to out game plan him. Now, I'm not sure if he would have been able to out game plan Brian Ortega. His style's a little bit more like unpredictable, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he'll be there with you on the ground and, possibly get you on your feet. So I think it would be a little bit harder for him to win that fight, which would lead to Brian Ortega taking the win.
Similar to what you said, I think Volkanovski, if he puts a good plan together, he can beat Brian Ortega. But granted, now it's all hypotheticals because he's out of the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would be rooting for Brian Ortega as well because he's proven himself before, and I think it's nonetheless just sharpening that skill set and creating a plan for the champion. If you watch him fight Max, he's okay, he's been in the ring with Max before as well. So it's he knows what to expect from his fight from Max, as well as seeing, okay, this fighter is a more improved fighter. Max is more improved than when he fought Brian Ortega back then, but it's okay, I have the groundwork. I have a blueprint of how Max is, and depending on how I think I could beat Max, depends on how my performance against Max today is probably how he would probably compare that to how his performance would be against how Volkanovski's performance was against Max. And that's all hypotheticals and stuff like that nonetheless. But I don't know. I would have had Brian Ortega. Hopefully they can reschedule this sooner than possible because he tested positive for COVID, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so hopefully they can get this on the next card, possibly within the next month, because I know these type of training camps, he's trained super hard for this to get to this point. So,
yeah, and that quarantine shit from Australia to America is no joke. Apparently when you leave Australia, you got to quarantine in America for 2 weeks, do all the testing. After the fight, you got to be there for 2 weeks, then quarantine, and go back to Australia and quarantine for another 2 weeks. It sucks. So I don't know if the UFC is gonna hey, just stay in America. We'll make it worth your while. We'll get you guys back together soon. Because if they send his ass home, we won't be seeing this motherfucker fight till the fall because the quarantine procedures. It's a long. Because I know for me, if I'm going back home, I'm bro, I got to quarantine for a month before going back home. Let's just set this fight on a later date because I'm not going to turn around a month later and redo this whole quarantine shit. It's very taxing, it stops you from doing a lot of things because you got to be confined in a space and you can't go out and train how you need to train for a championship fight, So I think
exactly
that's, unfortunate for Volkanovski. Hopefully, he's good and they put this fight back together because it's a good fight for the division. But another good fight for the division, for a division higher than that, is a little bit of surprising announcement, but not so surprising. Usman versus Masvidal, the rematch. Now, that fight is happening in April with 2 other title fights. And we could get into the other title fights later when the fight is getting closer. But for the main event, Usman, he got who he called out, Masvidal. Now, I don't think Masvidal deserves the rematch just because he's coming off a fucking loss. But as far as money-wise, he knew people were going to tune in. And I think this is good because we're going to finally close the chapter on Street Judas Masvidal. And I think that it's time for Usman to continue his stardom and hopefully he could grab a finish over Masvidal. And it's crazy, man. Masvidal was the baby face. People loved him. They thought he was a street dude. And in 2020, he fucked everything up for himself. And what I mean as far as fan respect and love, because it wasn't because he went out and supported Trump and everything like that. It's the fact that what he was doing, kind of being bragging that he's a Trump supporter, fake news this, the election was rigged and all that. MMA fans, they don't like they don't like politics anyway. And you already know there was a lot of people that didn't like fucking Trump. So when he was doing all that, they were kind of like, dude, like maybe not so street Judas, like street Jesus, like we thought you were, you know? And Usman, he's starting to get a lot of love too, because people are realizing like, hell, this guy's actually nice, not a foot stomper. So this is Usman's chance to Usman's chance to fold the guy up and prove to everybody like, hey, Masvidal is, you know, he had a great 2019. He had some, you know, he had good matchups for him, but when it comes to the elite, he doesn't equal. He's not on Usman's level. I'm rooting for Kamaru Usman, and I think he's going to actually finish him. But it'll be like a 4th or 5th round finish because Jorge is not a guy you could just walk up and knock him out easily. He is a tough, durable guy.
I think that Usman, when he does fight him, he gets him by decision. I think he'll beat him again. I don't really see Jorge Masvidal's wrestling improving so much over the short period of time to where it's going to be anything different. I think it'll be more competitive. But I mean, like, the only thing is that instead of in the second round, we'll see him get really tired. It might be the end of the 3rd or the 4th. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I see it going. It's not really going to be anything super crazy. You know, Kamaru Usman is going to go in, do his thing, defend his title, and continue to, you know, further his reign.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think I agree there. Where I think Usman's going to win. At the end of the day, like, it's going to be a repeat cycle of what we saw last time. It's probably going to go into deeper rounds, of course, because like we've all said, like we all know that Masvidal isn't a slouch at the end of the day. He's just, it's that conversation of when we start talking about at the elite level, there's those small, it becomes a very small difference between the very best and the elite. And I think for Masvidal, he's one of the best within his division right now. But even though he is coming off a loss, unfortunately, but he's his skill set wise, he's a top fighter skill set wise. But when it comes to being a champion and being at that elite level, it's Usman all day. And I think even though Masvidal he's probably going to improve as much as he can, whether it's his wrestling and other skill sets. We also got to remind ourselves when you're the champion, your main goal is to become a better champion, to create a bigger space between you and the number one pick. So the number one contender. So there's not much more to say after that. I got Usman. I'll say 4th round or Usman 4th round. I don't think this is going to decision.
Yeah. I put it like this. Masvidal has one way to win, and that's he has to get a good catch Kamaru with a good punch, good strike of any form. Because if he goes in trying to wrestle, he's going to burn his tank fast. He's not going to out-wrestle Kamaru. If he's trying to just box with Kamaru's not stupid enough to just get into striking exchanges and not even utilize his wrestling or his clinch work. He's not dumb enough. And we've all seen Kamaru's getting better with his boxing. So he mixes it up a lot better than Masvidal mixes it up. While Masvidal uses his wrestlers mainly for defense, while Usman, he's going to use it for his offense, but he's not just going to try to fucking wrestle you. He's going to try to jab you. He's going to maybe, utilize his iconic foot stomps, and he might do like Usman, he just got a lot of tools in the shed, bizarre or not. I just don't see Masvidal, of course, he's going to land some strikes because Usman, striking wise defensively, he's not the best and he does get hit, but he got a chin on him too. So it's not like he's going to get folded up from a few punches because Masvidal hit him in their first fight. Usman ate it, walked through and was like, what's up? So shouts out to Usman. Usman, make a statement and move forward and fight better deserving contenders. Let's close the chapter on Masvidal like Khabib finally closed the chapter on his career, because I am extremely tired of the lightweight division being held up. Thank God Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira is fighting for the vacant belts soon. Woo, thank God. Thank God.
It's cool to see the belt finally, on the move. I think, it pretty much confirms that Dustin Poirier and Conor are going to fight, you know, at some point in time in the summer. You know, if they didn't get it done, they're going to get it done. I'm excited to see this Michael Chandler fight, Charles Oliveira. I think it's an interesting matchup. Honestly, I think I might go for Michael Chandler. Shouts out to Charles Oliveira because, like, he's like, you know, been doing this shit for a long time, but I think Michael Chandler is just too fast, too like talented. Like, I think he'll just be too much, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean, with that being said, shout out to Khabib.
Shouts out to Khabib.
I'm not a big Khabib fan. I'll let you listeners know. But respect, he has earned respect because the dude is the greatest lightweight of all time. He's not the GOAT across the board. Damn that. But for lightweight, he is the greatest lightweight of all time.
Absolutely.
Without a shadow of a doubt. The dude is currently number one pound for pound from the general consensus list, not fucking Nigel, I love John Jones so much list.
Well, now that he's retired, who's number one now?
It's Khabib until they switch
okay. All right.
and realistically, Khabib would be all the top lightweights right now. Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira included. You know, so good on him. He's like, hey, I don't need the money no more. I'm a multimillionaire. I have a whole fucking nation behind me with Mother Russia. So he's good. He's goated. Obviously, Hall of Famer. Shouts out to him. This is coming from somebody who's not his biggest fan, but I definitely respect what he's done. And he would just continue to pile drive the rest of the fucking lightweight division. There was nobody that could beat him right now. Nobody.
Yeah. Similar to that, like, I mean, you guys said everything that needs to be said. I'm finally happy that he's officially announced that he's retired. So now we can actually go back to like regular schedule programming. And that's really it. Like, I can't wait to see this Michael Chandler fight. So that's really it. That's all I have to say. I think the only thing I question is because Khabib is only what, 31 or 30?
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's probably in his early 30s. I don't know the exact age, but it's definitely early 30s.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Khabib eventually comes back, and just because we know how the game works at the end of the day. Like, these guys retire and then they come back because now it's whoever, like, let the division be the division, and then he'll probably come back. It might be a year or two from now, but I'm curious to see how that plays out. But for the time being, I'm just relieved that now the division is just opened up.
I wouldn't even be mad if he came back later and fought. Like, if he truly doesn't want to fight, then don't fight. And that's what he's choosing to do. I respect that, you know? But it's like, don't, like, you know, have us on this wild goose chase, like trying to figure out who you're fighting next, when you're fighting next, how much money it's going to take. Like, none of that. We don't have to see you fight anybody. He won't fight GSP, but GSP was fighting people in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier this week and smiling while he was doing it. Yes.
Yeah, shouts out to GSP. He's back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the second time.
Yes.
And he fucking, it brought a smile to my face as the MMA fan. Because it was just surprising. Yeah. Like, it was surprising, like, oh shit, GSP's back. And once again, he played the same villain that he played before. And him and the Falcon that got into it. GSP, this time he didn't get his ass whipped like he did with Captain America, but it was cool, you know. And speaking of the show, I think everybody should watch this fucking show. It's 10 times better than WandaVision. Already out the gate. More action. It seems like the story is about to be like, oh shit, okay. Like, they introduced a cool character at the end of the episode. So Falcon and Winter Soldier, everybody watch that. It's a good recommendation.
Yeah, man, I was enjoying it, watching it, and like, I thought that just overall, it just seemed like a better show. I thought it was cool how they're like introducing certain things. Like, I don't want to get too far into spoilers right now, but like some of the characters and like, you know, factions that they're introducing are like little lore from the comic books, and like, I'm really into the comic book shit. So like, to me, that was like interesting. So I had a good time watching it. You know, I enjoyed it a lot.
Check it out, Spence.
Yeah,
we know you didn't watch that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't watch.
You don't even have to try and lie about it. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing to lie about. The truth, I haven't watched it. I'll find it. I'll find some time to try to check it out eventually. Like I said, I've been wrapped up in Snowfall. So.
Oh, I started watching that, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I did.
What you think so far?
You know what, man? I'm gonna continue watching it. It's not so bad. I can't even lie. I was just like, oh shit, like it's kind of interesting.
How far did you? What episode are you on?
I can't remember. I can't tell you. I was sitting there chilling the other night. You know, I don't know, man.
Got you. But I actually got to go back and rewatch season 1 because a lot of season 4, the main character Damon, I think his real name is Damon Idris. Mm-hmm. He even said like he suggested everybody go back to watch season 1 just because a lot of season 1 is taking place in season 4. So yeah, so it's a crazy story. This storyline so far, anybody listening that has watched it, I definitely suggest you go back and watch the first season because there's a lot of things I remember from season 1 that are showing their face again in season 4. So I don't know. It's a good show though. I'm telling you, man, you gonna like it. Just wait till like you get to. If you make it to season 2, you're gonna watch it. You'll be at season 4 before you know it.
You're gonna like his uncle. That's what I'll say. His uncle's funny.
Here's a little cheap plug or whatever. So both stars of Falcon and Winter Soldier and Snowfall, Anthony Mackie and who's that guy? Damon
Idris.
Shouts out to him. They both are starring in a Netflix movie as well that just came out a little bit ago. They're they're both part of the military, some kind of futuristic war story.
Oh, so what's up?
They're both on Netflix. So, you know, greatness meets greatness, and they start together to make more greatness. So I can't remember the movie name, but it's on Netflix right now, and it did come out this year. So it is a new product. So they're just winning. And shouts out to both good brothers for winning.
Yeah, definitely. I have to check it out. I did see him. I did see something like about that on his Instagram page. So I have to go check it out. I'll definitely have to check that out because I'll say this from what I've seen in this show so far. He's a really great actor. All these young actors that I forget some of their names, but a lot of them have like a high esteem for him as well. And he's another one of those UK actors that just plays an American very well. So, I mean, there's something in the water over there. Something in the water as well as like they take theater a little bit differently than America. So, but yeah, it's really interesting.
Speaking of that, I don't want to switch topics crazily. You know the little beef that's been going on between Black American actors versus Black UK actors, right?
I've heard about it, yeah.
This shit, to me, is fucking... Yeah, man.
There's
a thing. The shit is bizarre.
So,
they're both... I'm like, yo, they're brothers from across the seas, and they're doing well. What the fuck?
Some people are having a problem with some of these UK actors because they're coming over and playing American roles.
Okay. Well,
exactly.
But see, my thing is this. At the end of the day... I understand, I get that, but at the same time, I also would say this personally: for someone to come over from their country, where they speak their native language, even though UK is very similar to English, right? But it's an accent.
Correct.
For them to be able to play an actor, play an American, definitely in this case for Damon Idris, he's playing someone out of the 80s, a drug dealer out of the 80s that's based out of like South Central or Compton or something like that. To play that, and then at the same time when you hear him off camera, he sounds like a Brit. It's very interesting. Like, to me, I think those actors are extremely talented. That's all it is.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Like the whole Samuel L. Jackson thing when he was hating on John Boyega, I'm like, that's crabs in the bucket mentality shit. That's
he hated on John Boyega. I've been out of the loop of this.
Yeah, so you know how John Boyega, his breaking role was Star Wars. You know, he did the Star Wars trilogy. Right. You know, hey, first time black guys get on the face of Star Wars. Well, not a lot of people know that the dude was from the UK, unless you followed his career. But if you didn't know, you just thought like, oh, that's the black guy from Star Wars. You think he was American. Well, Samuel L. Jackson wasn't happy the dude was from the UK and playing an American role. And I'm just kind of like, that's crabs in a bucket mentality, bro. Like, you should be happy for the brother. Like, obviously they pulled him because he's very fucking talented. Damn, from where he's from, you know? Like, it's not like the UK, oh, the UK is more white than, like, no, man. This guy, he deals with racism like we deal with racism. You know what I mean? So, like, he's a good actor. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I just thought that shit was weird. But, you know, shouts out to the dude from Snowfall, you know, for doing this thing. Shouts out to Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, the shout outs to all of them, man. Definitely shout outs to all of them because they're doing a phenomenal job when it comes to this acting thing. But even then, like, you have what's his name? Idris
Elba.
Idris Elba. I think people fell in love with him in terms of like his acting and stuff like that when he was on The Wire. No one even knew he was from he was overseas.
That's true.
At the end of the day, you have someone that is help breaking down a door, kicking down a door, making a way for more actors that look like you to get further. And also on top of it, it inspires kids that watch this stuff that say, hey, I want to be an actor now. Like for us, when we were growing up, you only had Denzel Washington, Will Smith, Samuel Jackson, Wesley Snipes, and a handful of others. But now you have like a wider array of actors. Some of them come from overseas. There's nothing wrong with that.
And to piggyback on your point from like back in the day, the actors and the legends, I would like to call them, that you listed, they played particular movie roles, not because they're limited actors themselves, but these were the roles that was geared toward them. Now you see the actors, you know, brothers who are actors today, they're in a wide span of shit. They're doing every genre. The fact that, you know, because back in the day, let's be real, late 90s, early 2000s, the 80s, 70s, Star Wars, it was headlined by white people, right? And I'm not saying that to be all like fucked up in color, race, and all that, but that's just what it was. Most sci-fi movies, it was just Caucasian people. That's all it was. You might have a black actor here, black actor there, but they were not the focal point of these movies. So the fact that you have John Boyega, a black man from the UK, who is, hey, he's one of the main focal points of this current Star Wars trilogy, you know, that's a big deal as far as like black actors. Like, hey, we're getting in spaces that we weren't normalized being in back in the day. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying John Boyega should be the face of Star Wars or nothing like that. I'm not saying that at all. But just for like black people, it just shows like, hey, we could play in every role, and it's now happening now. So just because the dude came from the UK, that shit shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at all. It should, you know, can the guy fucking act? Yes. Okay, cool. And that's all that matters. So the whole crab in the bucket mentality of like, oh, he's not really American. Like, dude, like what? Like, that means nothing.
Barriers are being broken for minorities that get into acting in terms of like roles and limiting the amount of typecasting that happens. Because I think a lot of actors we saw at one point being typecast, and you had some actors that were vocal about their experiences of like, hey, I had to turn down certain roles so I wouldn't be typecast as an actor. And we went as far as seeing, now you have someone like Michael B. Jordan, who's he's about to be in a Tom Clancy movie. And I mean, we just call a spade. More than likely, if that movie is a success, that's probably going to be a trilogy type of movie, or a movie that just becomes a series that he'll probably be in for a long time. So it's one of those things where we just kind of got to like let it be and just kind of move forward. And granted, like when we speak about race, unfortunately, like on a darker note, unfortunate note rather, there was a hate crime that actually happened, and actually Not too far from me, actually, about 15, 20 minutes away from me. Over the last week, I believe it was 8 Asian people were killed from one single shooter that he had hit 3 different spots. Unfortunately, this is like a very sad thing. So it's just only thing I just want to say is like I really want to send my condolences to the families of the victims, and I hope that justice gets served in that situation.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that a motherfucker can, just because they're Asian people, he felt very angry and inclined. It felt like, hey, I'm going to do the world some justice by eliminating these people who are not bothering nobody. And I just, because of the fact of who they are and where they come from. And I believe that, Asian people should not be fucking targeted because they're fucking Asian. And I think that's fucked up. And for the guy to do what he did, hopefully he gets the books thrown at him. I mean, because you just can't just be killing people because they're fucking Asian. It's just, I think that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Kind of like what with us, you can't, why are we being targeted because of the color of our skin? You know what I mean? And racism goes across the board. It goes across the board. And this should show people like, hey, there is racist people out there. This isn't just black people boo-hooing and crying. No, motherfucker, like, no, racism is real. So now that Asian people were being targeted and shot at because they're Asian, hopefully that opens people's eyes more of like, hey, there is racist pricks out there. And they're willing to go so far above and beyond to kill because they don't like who that person is. It's crazy. That shit's crazy. Definitely RIP to the people that lost their lives and the families that have to go through that loss. Like, it's crazy, and I definitely feel for them because that shit is just traumatizing and it's just wrong, man. This shit is wrong.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate what happened, and like the dude, like as to the possible reasons he, went and murdered these people, and there's no good reason for that amount of people, to just be murdered in that type of way. Like it's very, brutal and unfortunate. I don't really have much to add on to what you guys said, but sending support to the Asian community and the things that they're dealing with at the moment. It's unfortunate.
I hope that this situation doesn't push other people to feel as though like, hey, I should do the same, because at the end of the day, from one standpoint, we're all human, and we have to kind of get like things like this are just not justifiable, and it's just very unfortunate. So, like I said before, prayers to the family. I send my condolences and to the families of the victims. I hope that justice does get served because it's just unfortunate. The situation was just very unfortunate. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Prayers to the families, man. Definitely prayers to the families. So
Did we have anything to get to before we head out, for the listeners?
No, I mean, the only thing is, listeners, we posted the MMA rankings, the first post last week. There's going to be another post this week. By the time this episode drops, it's already been posted. So continue to look forward to that, and leave your comments and leave what you think about that, whether you're into MMA or not. Just tell, ask us a question. Hey, what does this all mean? And we'll be gladly to explain the shit to you. So just continue to look forward to that.
Yeah, even if you agree or disagree, let us know why you agree or let us know why you disagree, to be honest with you, because it's always good to be able to get that just to understand where the listeners are coming from with their own perspectives as well. So other than that, I don't have anything to really say. Stay tuned for new things that we got coming out. There is an album I do want people to check out if they get a chance. It's called Colorway by Destin Conrad. Really good album. Album I started listening to about 2 weeks ago. So if you get a chance, definitely listen to it. It's definitely a fire album, all in all. So other than that, I don't have much to say other than drink your water, wear your mask, and stay sanitized.
Listeners, you can follow us at Advise Highly on Twitter, Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram. Follow the YouTube page. Leave comments, like, subscribe, all those good things. You have been highly advised. We will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Boom.
Yeah. You've been highly advised.